Hello, welcome to the This Week in R, presented by the Hong Kong R User Group. Actually, this is the second episode of This Week in R, presented by the Hong Kong R User Group, and we have the pilot episode last week, which is for testing the technical setup, and this week is the real deal. So officially, this is the first episode of the This Week in R, presented by the Hong Kong R User Group, and I am a member of the Hong Kong R User Group. My name is Chainsaw, and as you can see, the gear has been improved a lot, and this is the microphone that I use for recording music, but this time I use it for recording the video podcast. I hope that the sound quality will improve a lot. And well, today is the 29th of January of 2017, and this is the second day of the Lunar New Year. So Happy New Year to all of you. And last week, there are some very important development in R. So without further ado, so let's start the last week of the news. So the first thing is that, the CRAN, the R package repository, officially have over 10,000 package. And the 10,000 package is called a hurricane exposure, created by Brooke Anderson. And the package is a data package actually, and it allows you to plot some information about the natural disaster. And this is an important milestone for the R community. And of course, compared to other programming language like JavaScript, they have, as I remember, they have 300,000 package. And but still, it is an important milestone for the R community. So the second news is the FST package. There are some serialization format for R already. And the most common one is the RDS format. RDS is the default binary serial data serialization format. And there are also FEDA. FEDA is a binary serialization format created by Hadley Wickham and Wes McKinney. And for that format, it can be used in R and also Python. And now we have a new challenger. And that challenger is FST. And FST is new. They claim that it is a fast, easy, and feasible way to serialize data frame. And it claimed to be incredibly fast. And also, it said that it designed to unlock the potential of a high-speed solid-state disk. And nowadays, most of the computer equipped with the SSD instead of a hard disk. So this one, the FST, will be a very important data serialization format in the future. So I give it a try actually, and let's see how fast it is. So and I have installed the FST package available on the CRAN, and now we try to create a very large data frame, and it has 1 to the power 7 rows. So this is the first few rows of that data frame, and it have integers, logicals, meaning true or false, some text data, and also some numerical data, basically float. So, and look at the dimension. So it have the 1 to the power 7, 10 to the power 7, I believe, a number of rows. And so now I try to save it as a file, save that X data frame as a file. So using the built-in save RDS function. So run it. And I use the system time to count how much time it takes to save that large data frame into a RDS file. It really takes some time, and I need to keep talking to pass the time, and it is still saving the file. Okay, so it takes half a minute. So let's try it with the new write.fst format and save it as a FST file. So it takes 1 second, which is really fast. So instead of just saving the file, you can also read it. So read.fst. And okay, but before it, I want to look at the file size of the file serialized. So for the RDS, the file is a bit small than the FST format, and but actually you can control the level of compression in the FST writing process. And if you want to know more, you can just read this website. Okay, so you can set the compression level of the write.fst. So you can also read it. So read fst and test.fst, and let's call it x2. So we can read it. It's also very fast, and the head of x2 should be the same as the original file. So you can try it, but actually I don't want to because it will take a lot of time. So okay, not is RDS. So we can read it. It takes a lot of time. So well, a new file format that you should try out. You need to serialize your data a lot. Okay, and a lot of potential, and some of the package, for example, the Rio, the package Rio has already considering including this file format in the future. So definitely check it out. Okay, the second big news of last week is the release of the sparklyr. So actually this is the second release of the sparklyr, and the 0.5 version of sparklyr. Then they have released the 0.4 version in October last year. Yes, I can remember. And okay, what is sparklyr? And sparklyr is the interface to the Apache Spark. Okay, Apache Spark is a big data framework, and which you can use for parallel computing, so that you can also that you have a very large data set that is larger than your memory, and you can distribute all the data into your cluster of many computer, so that you can and then you do the analysis using the mechanism called map reduce, meaning do the analysis on each cluster of data and then combine it together and then return it to you. So now traditionally for R, when you do the analysis, all the data will be read and stored in a memory. So the data size will be limited by the the amount of memory you have in your computer. So now with the Spark, you can have the data which is larger than your memory, and so that you can analyze some data that is really big. Okay, not the big data in the commercial term. I mean the really big data. So the sparklyr is our interface to Apache Spark, and it is really easy to use because it is actually dplyr, and the dplyr is the data manipulation interface for R. And now we have the sparklyr, so that we can run we can directly translate what you have learned in the dplyr, so that you can manipulate the data in Spark. And there are actually quite a number of Spark interface available in R, and I think this one is the easiest because it uses the dplyr, and actually it also includes the ML library available for the Apache Spark. The ML library is for doing machine learning, so you can use the sparklyr to create machine learning model with a very large data set. And okay, again, I will try to demonstrate how to use the sparklyr. And so you just install the package sparklyr, and also the dplyr, and the ggplotly is not required, but because I want to do some data visualization, so I just load that package. And then the sparklyr provide a function called the spark install, so that it will install all the required files and programs that you need to use the Spark in your local machine. And I have done that, so if you want to do it, you can just run it. Just download some file on the internet, which is about 500 meg, and then install it in your own machine. And so I want to have some large data to do analysis, so I installed a package called nycflight13, and it have a very large data set. So it's also not compulsory. So if you want to try it out, you can also install that package to have a large data set to work with. And then this is the most important lines of code to use the sparklyr, which is called a Spark Connect. And so now we connect with a Spark instance, and in this case we're connecting to a Spark instance on my local machine, and because I've installed the Spark on my own machine. Actually, you can connect to other Spark instance. For example, the Spark you created in your multi-computer cluster, or on a cloud, for example AWS or the Microsoft Cloud Service. They also provide the Spark interface, so that you can create your own Spark instance on the cloud. So we created a Spark connection called SC. And as I mentioned, I have installed data, which is called the nycflight13, and they have a data set which is called the flights. So it have it is quite large. So it's not that large, but it for my computer it can fit into my memory. But for demonstrate purpose, I just use that data set. So we copy that data set into our Spark instance using the copy tool like this. So it will copy, because I've already copied that data into my Spark instance. So it create an error, and so it already have some data in my SC Spark instance. So now we can use that Spark instance to do some dplyr style data manipulation. For example, we can filter the data using the pipe interface. And as you can see, after I do the filter to filter the rows that with the delete equal to 2, the return data is not a data frame, it's a Spark connection. So it actually will not store anything into my memory, so it's still in the Spark instance. So we can do some really complicated data manipulation using the dplyr interface. So I just run it again. The return data is still a Spark connection, so still it will not occupy my own memory. But sometimes you will want to have the data that has been manipulated, and then you return it as a data frame so that you can visualize it in your own machine, or you can save it, or maybe using machine learning to create some model. So if you really want to do this, you can use a function called collect, and after you run that, okay, this time the return values or the return data is a tuple. Tuple is just a data frame. So now you can use anything that's compatible with data frame with the data you have manipulated using your Spark's instance. So for example, I do the data manipulation using the Spark here up to here, and then use the connect to convert that data into data frame, and then I use the ggplot to plot that data set. So after you run it, it should create a very complicated chart like this. Okay, so you can use the Spark to do the data manipulation, and then use the collect to return the manipulated data set as a data frame, and then plot it with the function that you used to use. Okay, and apart from the dplyr style data manipulation, you can also do some machine learning using the ML library provided by the Apache Spark. So we run that to transfer the iris dataset into our Spark instance SC, and basically the iris is a very small dataset, but it can be fit into my memory, but still as a it's a demonstration, so I just use it as a dataset. So now we can actually create we can create a k-mean model using the ml_k-means. And okay, anything start with the ml_ is the machine learning. Is the machine learning function provided by the Spark, Apache Spark. So we can run it. So it run the k-mean algorithm in Spark rather than on your own machine. So you can use the model created and do some prediction using SDF predict. And again, when you run it, the SDF predict will return a Spark connection instead of a data frame that you used to use. So you can use the connect to convert it into a data frame, TPO. So we can doing something like that, and then try to cross-validate the results. Okay, and as you can see, it's really useful. So sparklyr, if you're really into the big data analysis, you should definitely check it out. Okay, the next section is not about the news, it's about the out tips. So this week in out tips is about data visualization. So for example, if you know ggplot, okay, you can plot a graph that like this. So really wonderful graph, simple graph, and with different color, and also the x-axis and y-axis to be the data in the iris dataset. Okay. But sometimes you are not just satisfied with a graph on your own machine. So you may want to have the graph which is interactive, and so that you can maybe web-based graph, and so that you can put it online. So you can use Plotly to do that. So Plotly is open source D3.js based data visualization library, and it is not free. It was not free, but now it's open source. So now you can use it. So for example, you plot this, and then you can run a function from the Plotly, which is called a ggplotly. You run that, it will open up your browser and then give you an interactive web-based version of the same graph. Okay, you defined it using the ggplot2. So but sometimes you don't just want to do it interactively. For example, you want to save it as a graph, and so you can use the you can save your ggplot object into a ggplot object called p, and then use the ggplotly to convert it to an interactive graph. And most of the geometry supported by the ggplot can be used in the ggplotly. So next time, if you want to create a graph, online interactive graph, but you don't know how to use Plotly, but you know how to use ggplot, you can use the ggplotly to convert a ggplot into a Plotly. So this is the end of This Week in R. And again, we are the Hong Kong R user group, and I'm Chainsaw. And hopefully I will see you again next week. And as a spoiler, we will have a really big announcement next week in the Hong Kong R user group, and also in This Week in R. So stay tuned. Bye bye.